All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Saturday morning. It's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's apparently 4 p.m. over in the UK. And, yeah, we got a Timo here with us on chat on stream today, and we're going to talk to him. I think Ryan will probably chime in, hopefully sooner than later. I messed up my timing. Sorry, guys. But here we go.
Time zones, man. They're tough, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm going to leave it up to Logan to just kind of start off right now. I'm going to fix some stuff, and hopefully I can get Ryan in the stream as soon as I can.
Yeah. Obviously, we got another cool podcast. We're talking to more people around the world. This gentleman here, as far as I understand, you're a big part of putting on Clash of the Titans.
Correct. Yeah, we started in Clash of Titans 5 years ago. Myself and a good friend of mine. And yeah, just after the big Corona crash, there was absolutely nothing going on in the RC drift scene in Germany, especially, and even the other near European countries everything closed down and was pretty still then. And so we came up with the idea, hey, let's go for another big event, just start something. And so the idea was born for the Clash of Titans competition. That's the start of it.
What was it always intended to be something where you guys were bringing in drivers across all of Europe or the world even?
As we have a lot of good friends in the close European countries, so next to the borders to every side, it was pretty clear that we can bring some Dutch guys, some France guys, some, they're really close to us. So yeah, they visited us a couple of times.
Yeah.
It was never intended to grow in that big.
Yeah.
So quick. And really the progress was just insane. It's way more than we intended. So
yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy because like this year you guys got drivers from Japan from multiple manufacturers, which is pretty exciting. It must have been.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Never expected that. So we had last year already the guys from RCO, and also the chief. They visited us. Of course, of a little bit of suggestion from a really good friend of mine, Michael van der Hogenband. He's the hoster of the World Championship. They're not actually present, but I'm pretty sure even in the US, you noticed that World Championships they are holding in 2050 and 60 and 17. So yeah, and also he come over and he made that. I am pretty sure that he was the main influence to bring RCO to us. So really appreciate that, of course. And yeah, so it started to getting worldwide, with the Japanese guys, and this year we had the Overdose guys. They hit me up with a message and asked for competing, for joining, and man, I was just blown. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so that it's like that. It started, and it's how it is now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what? Did you guys always run it in that same location, or is it? Have you had to like move?
No, we are in a fair, so the venue is held in a fair in a big hall where we get plenty of space.
Yeah,
right on.
We have been there on that fair now for 15 years or something.
Yeah,
making local just show events or something, and then 4 years back we made the first ever Clash of Titans there, and so we're really hanging on that place. We're loving that place, and so Yeah, I will guess we stay there.
Yeah.
Because it's just similar.
It seems like it does, regardless. Like you still kind of have room to grow there, or like at least it's big enough to hold what the current size is.
Yeah, we're a bit limited. We are limited of the size.
Yeah.
So I think we reached the maximum we can hold, and even in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, just say for the moment it will stay in that how it is now.
Yeah.
You know, that state in that space that we got. Just say it for now.
Yeah. So I guess you start to kind of run into the issues that we always talk about with Super G's big event, where you start to have to think about limiting how many people can sign up. Have you guys thought about that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the same problem. I think. Yeah, we have so many ideas.
Yeah.
We have so many things. Of course, we want to invite the whole world. We want to have 500 guys. You know,
Yeah.
it would be just amazing for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, but actually, just to be honest, it's not possible to get that space.
Yeah.
It's and especially in Germany, we can't afford to rent that place.
Yeah.
So the prices are horrendous, and yeah, just
So
stupid.
when you guys are using that space, there's already an event going on, and then that the hosts of that event kind of allow you to use it.
Correct.
Is that how that works? Okay, that's cool.
It's a model fair
Yeah.
on that weekend, so it's let me say the second big toy fair in Germany. So, and yeah, as a side show, they give us the space.
Yeah.
Around 1,000
That's cool.
square meters or something. And yeah, like I say, it's very familiar, and we're really hanging on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ryan.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me?
We can hear
For
ya.
the mix-up.
Yeah, that's all right. I wasn't expecting to be on here so early. I've been at the track. We're just putting down a new layout at the
Nice.
track, so been doing that. So yeah.
You guys?
Oh,
That's all
sorry about that.
Oh no.
Oh,
It's all on me. I'm sorry.
It's Adam's fault.
So what have I missed? Fill me in.
Oh, we were just talking about Clash of the Titans and how it's kind of
Yeah.
started and how it's grown.
Okay, cool.
It's starting getting into that international like growing
Yeah.
idea. So Japan and is showing up. You also had a topic that we discussed earlier about like everyone traveling this year, like Americans traveling over to UK. When is that going to start happening? All that fun stuff.
So Kevin, Put, and Junior are coming to the UK at the end of April, and Put and Junior will be competing in the RC Drift IO Spring Major.
Oh, right on.
So I can say that. And they'll be traveling to a couple of tracks. They'll be coming to my home track as well. So yeah, that'll be good.
Mhm.
And it'd be good to get some more exposure for the UK and Europe as well, which is why I asked Timo to be able to come on.
So Timo, how are you guys going about like integrating international, like because we just talked about how big of a competition it is already now, like, and Logan just brought up potentially limiting the size. Like, are you guys going into like meetings, like board meetings, like with a series of a group of people and talking about it, or is it just like a few of you guys that are making the decisions? Like, how are you crowd brainstorming?
No, it's actually just me and my buddy Michael. So now that's basically it. So because it's just our baby, and yeah. So actually, till now, it's just, of course, a couple of friends, close friends to us. They are always invited and invade. So of course, we set a lot of the the mind of other people, of course, because we just want to bring the community forward. So this is a big thing, but we don't go for public announcements or something. So yeah, it's basically just me and my buddy that make decision or bring it then to life.
Right on.
I wanted to ask about the surface that you guys have there. It looks kind of unlike anything I've seen before. So can you guys like kind of describe what that is and how it feels?
Oh, it's polished concrete.
Okay.
It's polished concrete actually, and
I don't know. I thought it was some sort of like abrasive. It's not really polished, I found, because the tire wear we had was considerably higher than I've had in anywhere else. It's very abrasive, but I noticed the track had a lot of forward bite but lacked side bite. So you was having to tune the car to be able to get the grip from the corners, but on the straight line, the cars were like rockets. I think I ended up having to I went through 4 sets of rear tires.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We had this year. We had the issue with the surface. No, it's pretend to be polished concrete, but it's already many years old. So I think the polish is gone, and now it's step on the rougher surface. So of course the concrete coming off. So yeah, we're getting a lot of grip then actually, and it depends on what event was in front of our event. So it makes a huge difference than to the status of the concrete that we actually found on that day we are there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's different every year, to be honest.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
Well, I think the additional grip obviously, provides for a more challenging, track, for the drivers, and so that just kind of raises the level of what you're going to see. It makes it harder for everyone. So it's kind of pretty cool.
Yeah, of course. That's also what we want to see. Everybody talking about high skilled drivers, and so there you go. There is your surface. Adapt to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we also thought about to bring the
no, there's no tape in here. You're out of that. Yeah,
it's
just
not
ran out.
possible.
Okay. No worries.
Nice imagination, but for us it's not affordable to bring a new surface onto the venue. So for that we have to live with the surface there is actually.
In this fair that happens and where you guys are driving there, is that only once a year that you get to do that?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool.
There are other fairs, of course. It's a rentable venue, so there are all over the years are different fairs, but this is the only toy fair or modeling fair.
Yeah.
And so we fit into the program, of course, with model cars.
Yeah, we're actually we have a pretty big event next month that is at a similar situation. It's like a big model hobby expo thing, but we just do like a fun track, but it's same deal. So
I noticed it's quite popular in Europe to do that. So Verona, which was in March this month, they were also in like a toy expo demonstration, and D10 Poland, which is normally toward the end of the year, November, they also do their event whilst at a like model hobby expo convention as well. So it's like it seems to be quite a common thing in Europe, especially RC Drift.io. We're doing our spring major at a hobby expo in the Birmingham NEC. So
I think sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think doing it at an expo like that, it is often really good for the hobby, right? Because you get a little bit more exposure, and the drivers, you have a little bit of a different kind of feeling and pressure around performing well. There's audience.
Of course. But I find that can sometimes also be its curse at the same time, because it's a catch-22 where you have limitations of run time, the days that you can host the event, your space that you have. So whilst like you say, every option's got its pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are. That's the biggest issue, right? Is the drive time, because we're degens and we'll stay until 2 a.m. But you can't always do that.
Yeah.
Yep, everyone gets out.
But I also find it's also good because when you create a limitation of what you can capacitate on the event, it creates like a demand, or also almost like an exclusivity of like, you need to be at this event. Whereas I know when I did SDC, it's like as many people as we can get in can come.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally, there are very small qualifying requirements, to attend. And if you're out of town, there is none, basically. So.
Yeah, I think anything over 100 miles, isn't it, for your home track? You're allowed in
150.
150, okay.
Which is easy to do out here. There's a lot of regions, but there's a lot of the U.S. that is 150 miles away from a
region. Like you guys will do a 6-hour drive to a track just any day. Whereas in the UK, if it's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, it's considered a really far place to travel.
We were talking about that with Josh. You guys are not willing to travel.
And I actually touched up on this with Timo a couple of days ago. We were talking about how the UK, I know Josh also mentioned it, how the UK is very dense, but with a low, it's very niche, but very overpopulated with venues. Yeah. Whereas if you look at Europe's quite the opposite. There's almost like, there's not a lot of tracks. So it's kind of like these European tournaments are like the one thing where everyone gets to meet up. It's like your SDC where all the states come together and they can all catch up.
Yeah,
it's kind of like how Clash of Titans is, and RCDM and D10 Poland. That's why they're also so dense with how many people try to enter, and they've got massive reserve lists because everyone's trying to get into a competition because they're the only main events they are.
Yeah. We have the international series like the D1 on 10. I run it even with Michael for years, but I think the problem is that Germany is so stretched. You have around 600 kilometers from down to up, and what you're ending up is with we made 6 rounds a year with the series, and what you end up is just with the same 10 kind of people who come to every event, and a max amount on competitors of 20 on each run. So it's the distance. Of course, the guys from the north don't come completely down to the south. So this is really, it was just too difficult to match and keep the series running. So it made no sense to make the event a 2 days event on a weekend for just 20 people. So because even here it's not affordable for the people to travel that big distance. So it's pretty difficult.
I mean, we complain about gas prices here now, but what are the gas prices over there?
The gas prices by now, it's for gasoline, it's €2.10 around that.
But that's per liter. Is the US gallon 4 liters? Is it?
We talked about this on the other show. Yes.
Okay.
So 2.10 to the euro is $2.42 to the States. So
a liter,
like almost $10 a gallon.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot everywhere, I think.
It's strange, actually. It's really strange. So hard times.
Europe just likes taxing us. I think Europe also have the highest taxation on parts as well. So parts to buy in America are probably cheaper than if you were to try buy them in the UK or Europe. Because of tariffs.
So I guess
especially with the UK.
For what motor are you running, Ryan?
So I'm Rev D 13.5.
So absolute. So okay, how much would
Yeah.
that motor be for you guys?
Let me have a quick look.
130
Euro?
euro, of course.
1 minute. I think it's about £140.
No, then it's
So
way
it's even
more.
more in euros. It's probably about £125. So it's about 150 euros.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take
Yeah.
150, so 173 US. That's still
Yeah.
cheaper than what we're getting it in the US today.
Oh, really?
Okay.
But I think
Okay.
there's something around like Rev D pricing, right? Because let me look it up so I'm not making this up. But I swear, like the cost of Rev D motors or just anything Rev D has been significantly higher. Absolute. And of course, Super G does not
But
have it.
Is that not because you guys have had increase in tariffs as well?
Probably so. But I think so. There are like two price hikes that I remember. One is the fact when when they moved over to their their SE series stuff. That was like the first price hike, and then because of tariffs, like I'm sure someone's going to correct me, but the last time I saw an absolute Rev D motor on like the price for it, it was like $225.
Okay, it's quite considerable then of a difference.
Yeah, that's why it hasn't been in like my consideration.
Yeah, it's a good strong motor though.
For sure. So A-Main has it for $225.
I wanted to ask Timo, you have do you have like a permanent sort of local track that you go to?
No, actually not.
Oh wow.
There was a lot of changings the last years. So my main local track closed a year ago. By the way, it's 200 kilometers away from me.
So hardly local.
Yeah. So 200 kilometers is totally fine for us. So you have to travel that everywhere you want to go. This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At minimum 200. So but it's closed, and they're open up again some basement tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And but I didn't been there the whole last year and even the year before because I had a little break in actually driving.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm not really driving in the moment.
Does that mean you just kind of focus more on Clash of the Titans?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course, a lot of other hobbies.
Okay.
And we just want to bring Clash of Titans forward. So this is my main focus at the moment.
How much of your time would you say during the year does Clash of the Titans take as far as planning?
No, that's pretty difficult to say.
Yeah, not much, or
I can't say a number because sometimes you just spread up with ideas and you spend days to get things sorted and organized or whatever, or just waiting for response of someone you try to contact.
Right.
And on the other way around is you just have 4 weeks, you do nothing at all for it. So it's different. So I can't say a number.
But it's not. I would imagine being established now, it's a little easier every year to put it on, or is it just get harder and harder?
That's a good one. We're getting more famous, of course.
Yeah.
So if you now talk to someone, they already heard about you.
Yeah. I would say even after this year, especially even in the US, that's more true now too. Like I think way more of us know about it. With that big event.
Nice.
Well, because I noticed Overdose jumped in last minute, and I was like, is that Overdose trying to get a little bit more reach in the European market? Because obviously last year Shibata had all the highlight from winning RCDC, and then now it's Rev D's turn, and I think Rev D's had a real big boom. in the last couple of months, I would argue, especially with the MC3 kit.
Yeah, in Germany, it's actually that RevD is very, very popular because since they leave Yokomo, Yokomo is completely breaking down. There's no market anymore for Yokomo. So, and then of course, we had a lot of RevD drivers, not officially works drivers, just drivers, user of the parts and material. So for that, I assume, of course, it's really important for other brands like Overdose, just to name it. It's important to get also an eye of the market outside if they want to compare. So it's just
this ties in quite nicely to your guys' podcast when you had Kevin on, with the development and the way chassis are going. And I think it's like you guys said, Yokomo have gone quite stale, and so to try push sales, they've just re-anodized their SD3 to get a product out to market. And maybe perhaps Overdose are also like, we need to bring something new to the table as well.
Of course,
and that's why Overdose are now making their presence more known with doing SDC every year, and now they're pushing themselves into the Europe scene as well. Which I think it's a good thing. I think it's nice that Europe's now getting a little bit of spotlight and opening eyes up. It'd be nice to get the Americans to come over and experience Europe as well, as much as the Europeans go over there. Because I know it's kind of that diversity and that mixing is not what is happening at the moment. You get a few Europeans that will go to Japan, and then you've got a couple of the Japanese that are coming to Europe, but that's for one event.
Yeah.
So it does question what would it take for, let's say, Americans to maybe have more of an interest in trying to explore driving in Europe.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of us would love to do it. The biggest issue is cost, obviously.
No, of course.
But I think that, to see that kind of, so like if you look at off-road or on-road, to see that kind of traveling where a bunch of American drivers are going to events all over the world, I think it takes support from the manufacturers. But I think a lot of, especially this year in the US, we've seen a lot of the Japanese and mostly Japanese manufacturers are showing a little bit more support for drivers in the US and around the world. So we're working on that, and hopefully someday we can get to a point where we're all being flown out to these races and stuff. That'd be fun.
It's like the old days, D10 Worlds. I know Justin from RCO, he actually went back in like 2019 because he was actually I know Timo because I went to the Worlds back then. And you have there's a few guys in the UK scene that used to do that. Rory, Edwards, Dan, RC, and then you had a few other drivers that would do these events. So it used to be a thing, and I know was it last year they tried to redo it, but it just couldn't gain the traction after COVID.
No, last year it's not the same hoster. It's just someone else just want to take this name and make it again.
Okay.
So it's also a difficult story. I want to say something about it. The Worlds as we know it is done, I think. So
but
I
think especially where you have WTDC, which is, and then RCDC and then SDC. Everyone's got their own thing that they'll class as like a world event. And it's is the definition now because it's a worldwide nationally welcoming event. Is that why it's now deemed as a world's event? Because
I
you're
think
allowing people from all over?
Yeah. I think you literally just slap the name on it and you're good to go. I don't think that even matters. It would be nice if there was a true, Worlds. But obviously it's hard to get people to
It's,
travel.
it's difficult because you've got different countries using different systems, so you can't just bring it all together to make one because everyone does things in a different way.
In any other sport or competition that has a true world championships, there's a world sanctioning body, right? Like you have the FIA or
it's also, you take any other type of sport, the rules and the criteria is a set standard,
globally.
Whereas this hobby, it's an open to interpretation and based on what the judges at that time want to see from you. So you can't just create one answer fits all for this sport, which also then means you can't.
Well,
it's not easy to merge it all into one.
Yeah, I mean, globally there are completely different styles of driving. Is deemed,
I've noticed that. I've come to learn that the last year.
Yeah,
it's I've gone from Japan and seen that style to then I've been in America and seen that style, and now I'm traveling Europe. And you can really see the differences.
Yeah, you will always notice the guy that is not a local, so just in style. If you watch them, even when we go around in Europe, the close countries to us, everybody have a little bit of own style. So for that, we went with Josh with RC3.io. We was just blown away from their side, from that thing that he's doing actually. So we hoping to bring the rules and just the whole tournament a little bit together, so you have a base where you can look where is your standing, where is things going, where is all the drivers are located, where are tracks. So this is a huge thing that he makes actually, and we just love it. This is the whole intention from Clash of Titans, or from me and my buddy Michael, just bring the RC drifters together worldwide, because we think it's so fundamentally to bring them together to make progress in your own style, in your own driving. Because like you said, every country or every region have its own style. And you can't make progress if you just stay on your home track and go there for a million rounds. You will reach a point where you can go further. And so for that, I think it's really, really important to make at least maybe European bring together more. Like the Clash of Titans, when finally the UK guys come over and loved it.
I did bring a few of us over actually, because we had me, Heath, Sl1d3, Sook, and then there was Dan Robinson, then we had Rory, and then obviously Seb Thorley. So I think the year before Clash there was only 3 UK drivers.
Rory and Dan, and the third
and Adam Gav last year as well. You had Adam Gavacol was last year as well, and then Seb, so 4. So then this year there was an extra 3, and then there was people that wanted to come that actually didn't make the list.
So, I know that it's but it's a game.
But I know it's a lot of it's a very select few UK drivers that are looking to drive on an international level. I've noticed. So there's me, there's Sook, there's a guy that is from China that's called Xian that we travel with, and he's becoming a really good driver.
Wait,
so top 4 at RCDM.
What is this then? Xian counts as UK?
Well, he's one of us. He's family. He's one of us. So
just his origins is from China.
He comes over here. He studies over here. So he's currently back in China for 6 months. So he doesn't come back till September.
It's same like Sebastian, right? Because he's in his origin, he's a German. You just
Well,
steal
no,
from us.
his origin's British, but we still say he's a German driver because he's not been back here long enough yet.
Yeah. So you stolen our best driver, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Perfect.
Just to switch gears a little bit, since we got Ryan here, I wanted to kind of jump into your background, how you got started in RC drifting, and how long you've been doing it, and all that stuff.
So to get how I got into RC originally is when I was younger. My mum's partner was going down to. Have you ever heard of Crystal Palace in the UK?
Yeah.
They were like the first place to host a Formula One race, a motorsport. So there used to be a track down there. It's gone now, unfortunately, because they decided they would rather redevelop the land for a five-a-side football pitch. So back when I was younger, I used to go there with a stepdad, and then we moved away. When I moved back to London, I kind of went and ventured out to see if it still existed back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into 1.8 Nitro on-road
Mm-hmm.
and 110 touring car, dibbled and dabbled in and out of those, and then kind of took a step back and then got back into it. And then growing up, I was into cars, motorsport, drifting. And I was like, oh, let me see about the RC drifting. And then ended up entering a raffle with Asbo RC.
Sure.
And won a Rhino Shark off of him. So that was kind of like, okay, I won a chassis. Let me just go in and get going.
When was that?
November 2023.
And was this
So-
was this final form Shark, or was it a conversion kit?
It was Shark front, rear, chassis, and everything, but it wasn't final form. So it had bits and pieces missing, like the arms and stuff and knuckles. It was a bit of a hybrid.
Hmm.
I didn't know what I had at the time. I just had to work how to get it all together to run.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so I started in November 2023. So I'm just coming up to 2.5 years into this.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah. Yeah.
How-
I'm doing all right.
good. Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Okay. How did you end up connecting with Kevin?
So he used to have another UK driver called Ben.
Mhm.
And then he pulled out of the hobby, and I think, I don't know, it just, through recommendation or Kevin's having a look in on the UK scene, just the opportunity came to me, and obviously it's been the best thing I think that I could have done.
Yeah.
The opportunities I've had thanks to Kevin and RCO.
Yeah.
I've been to SDC, I've experienced Japan, and just had a lot of support with developing myself as a driver, having a team that's like work with each other. It's been really good. I think it's also helped the development of my driving style and whatnot. So
We've always
big thanks to Kevin.
Yeah, we've always talked about what a awesome thing being a part of RCO must be, because of the way, the support that he gives his drivers. Kind of like what I was talking about. We need, for truly international competition, we need the manufacturer to step up and help us, and he's leading the charge on that for sure.
Oh, I'd say so. I think that's why Rev D probably approached him.
Yeah.
I feel like that has been in the plans for quite a while, though. It doesn't seem like just a thing.
That I wouldn't know. That's their side of things. I'm an RCO driver. I do events and represent RCO, and in the community as well. And that's my main thing.
Yeah. Speaking of representing RCO, you have the most custom kaiju out there as of now.
Do you want me to go? I'll go get its track at the moment.
Timo, you saw this thing at Clash, right?
Yeah, of course. He actually wins the best chassis contest with that.
Oh, nice.
And just amazing. It's not just about just bought parts and put them together, because we all know there are many many high shining parts you can just buy and put it into.
There you go.
But this one is just unique. It's just from the base. It's simply stripped off and put new life in it. You know, he completely changed everything, and that's what I expected to be model crafting. You know, it's not just buy parts.
Yeah, there's a lot
crafting.
It was a lot of work and a lot of stress. So this car was put together. This car was put together finally the day before I had to fly out for Clash of Titans.
Jeez.
Because of parts delays and getting the anodizing stripped and redone, and then all the laser etching's been redone on all the parts.
That's
so
what I was going to get to.
Servo, gyro, motor can. So
one does not simply just change the colors. There's a lot more you got to think about.
You can, but then it doesn't have that finish. So I wanted to try and make it look like it was like a factory part. Yes. Obviously, I lose the shiny edge. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about that. But yeah, I think there was a lot of time spent trying to design all the graphics, because obviously they're not available anywhere. Yeah. So I had to get a friend of mine to spend a fair few hours together, measuring all the logos, making sure we had it all sized correctly, ready to be sent to another person that was going to do all the laser etching.
Yeah, so here we are. I've got it on screen here.
Okay, I was going to say, if you haven't yet, you should pop some pictures into the Roast My Rig or into our Discord so our viewers can...
That's insane.
So here it is. Like, the amount of anodizing in this is just crazy.
Yeah, there was over 80 parts sent to the anodizers.
Ooh.
So the MC3 kit was sent. The RCO Kaiju kit was sent. Both the knuckle options that RevD have for the front, the rear knuckles, even to the point of my shock setup is built of 2 different shock kits for the front and rear. All of that was all sent off as well. The electronics all had to be stripped down and all the electrical components taken away. And then the casings all sent off as well. And then the hardware is all green titanium from JSM.
Nice.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's just perfect, you know. I think actually it's green was always a pretty rare but beloved color in RC drifting, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's no manufacturer that bring out green chassis.
I think D-Like who did the RER? Yeah, they did it, and there's another company that made another chassis kit that came in like 10 different colors. Can't remember what it was called.
It depends on what time frame you're talking about. Because like Overdose.
No.
Alright, well, didn't Sakura whatever do a bunch of different?
Sakura is mainly pink.
No, I'm on about the brand that I'm thinking of. They did the kit where you could put the motor in like 8 different positions.
Wrap Up just have no green.
Not Wrap Up, no. It was a different brand.
Are you talking about the like the DES Racing? Like
that's the one. They did a green as well.
Oh, okay.
DES Rating, yeah. They did. They have. You can go buy that kit still from them, and they've got like 10 different anodized color options that you can purchase.
Okay.
Did you have any issues with parts fitting back together once you got them back?
Not really. I did have an issue with the hub. So because obviously when I got it anodized, the swatch that I saw online to what it was in person was different. So the green was actually the wrong shade the first time. So we had to redo the shading. So I did have a little bit of an issue with the knuckles and the hubs having like a little bit of play in the bearing. So I had to obviously get new ones and redo that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's been fine.
Nice.
You know, and it does stand out.
Yeah, I mean, no one else will ever have that probably. So,
I mean,
Oh,
well, who knows? I did speak with Asso's son when we was in Italy, and he loves green, and Hikaru loves the car as well. It's like trying to keep Hikaru's hands off of taking it in his luggage back home. And who knows? I was trying to convince Asso, like, make a limited edition run. He was like, maybe we do 200-300. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I was like, make sure you let me get one of those when they come out. Because then I can have all the shiny edge.
Yeah, that would. I mean, obviously anything's possible. You could do that, but I wouldn't even want to begin to think about how much someone would charge for that.
The problem with trying to get all the shiny edge on is you'd have to know someone that's a machinist that would then have to measure the endpoints of all your parts or scan them.
Yeah, you'd have to basically model them all, and then
and even then you could still get an issue where you're not perfect, and if you haven't got the original CNC files, you're not going to be able to put the edge on.
Yeah, that'd be pretty difficult, I guess.
Yeah. Or if they just start off with green.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the blue that they teased at RCDC, isn't it? But I think they didn't get enough interest to make them need to put the part into production.
Yeah, I wonder what the production kind of cutoff is, or how many of a thing do they think they need to make in order for it to be worthwhile?
I mean,
I'm not too sure.
We talked kind of about this with Josh and Galen and Joey on Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, being a private party, like, it's absurd at how many units you need to buy to make it make sense for the end user.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at about 500 units of each thing, of each part, maybe, even at a minimum.
Yeah. I know for us, like in my day job, we really try to avoid color options. Usually it's just like red and black. Because it makes everything super complicated. Because now you have multiple, versions. You end up with mismatching numbers, like, through returns or whatever. Some of the batch doesn't come out for one, so now you have 30 extra green somethings that don't have a mate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes very wasteful. So, Brian, I wanted to ask, we kind of touched on this. I would kind of be curious to hear you describe what your, opinion of how would you describe the US style versus, say, the European style and the Japanese style?
So I think the Japanese style is very much car rotation, get your corner exit, get the car loaded and point, and then big flick entry and hold angle, and then point the car and get it straightened out the exit, ready for the next flick. The US, I find you like to just sit on big angle everywhere and kind of like mansy everything. So it feels like there isn't a lot of the tracks. So like Super G, for instance, their new layout, it feels like their layouts are designed to try and inhibit the idea of like straightening and doing these big flicks. It's more of a fluid side to side. With Europe and the UK, I think it's a very mixed bag. So I know me and a few others have been doing international events. Some of us have been in Japan. We come back bringing a bit of the Japanese flair into our driving, and you can see that when we do competitions and stuff. But I'm also finding, like, when I've done the European competitions, so like D10 Poland, Clash and RCDM in Italy, they are wanting the idea of the Japanese style, but then the layouts don't complement that style. So their layouts are very US style, but they want them driven with a Japanese flair.
Yeah, which is hard to do.
And especially when all the European events are on like polished concrete, it's like the slickest surface. Italy was so slippery. Like, cars just look very unstable. And it's very easy to like.
You need a certain amount of grip to do those big flicks.
Yeah, or you need to ask less of the angle. So RCDM in qualifying, the line, they were asking big angle, big flick everywhere. But once we got to battle briefing, the style and angle requirement had dropped down massively compared to qualifying, because I think they saw that everyone wasn't able to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
So Timo, what about you, coming from you, like, because you were able to see Japan get involved with Clash, did you see any like troubles trying for Japan to adjust in that sense?
No, nothing at all. Just to be honest, I visited Japan now for over 10, 12 years when I met them first. And what I really admire is their adapt immediately to anything you ask them for. So they don't care where they are. They come just with a huge amount of skill, and you just tell them the track, or maybe they ask 2 times, 3 times again, just to understand what you asking for, and then they bring it on point.
This is everything. They're just highly skilled. But I will say, Clash's layout was actually very good. It actually allowed for a mix of everything. So in Clash, I will give it to them. The layout, I actually quite enjoyed it, because you had a couple areas that were high risk where you had to load the car and throw it on angle. And then you had other areas where you had to transition and maintain an angle and rotate the car around. So I think Clash had a really nice balanced layout. Very long, and it's like a very intense layout because it's very long. Even Junta was like very long track. So like it's a lot more, the tension's a lot higher because of the length of the track. So you got more opportunity to make mistakes. And where there was like high risk areas. I think the one part that was the hardest of the track was down the big straight. They wanted a big 90 flick, but the problem was your transition point. They've got these cable tunnels, and they've got these covers, and those covers are actually raised slightly to the surface. So when you hit that, the transition point was over that. So it made it like very like, oh, what's going to happen?
Your car's unstable and unsettled, and there's a bumps, and
To be fair, the surface was very stable and predictable. It was just that transition point was like, oh.
Yeah, we working around those tunnels. You know, they're made of wood, the covers, and of course they are horrible. You know, but so every year we try to figure out and make the track around those areas. So it's impossible to make a zone where you have to flick or where you have to be stable in the corner when you have to go over that bump. So it's really challenging to avoid this in an area where you don't want to have a changing of your car. So I know that's a really difficult part in the track, and it's a big issue. But
I think it is managed quite well.
We make it good around them every year now, and so it's for everybody the same.
I say next year you embrace it and just make bumps to go over that, just so you have a huge jump over it. That'd be sick.
I'll just raise the ride height and include some more droop on the front end.
Got to compromise somewhere.
Buggy mode.
Soften the suspension up, you know.
No, when I came
it was a very good event, to be fair. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It's definitely a very good event, to be fair.
Thank you. What I like to say to the layout, to the track layout himself is, I think the origin of RC drifting for me is Japan, of course. So we aiming for their style, and what I even noticed all over the last years is just they always a step ahead of everybody in Europe and even in the US. So of course they had a different speed. So what they bring on speed every time to us, it's just amazing. It's just, you know, they're coming out of nowhere with a huge amount of speed from nothing to, and it's really amazing to see that. But our focus in Europe, or especially for me and Michael, is the battle himself. So to keep the guys together, to make it fluently, to make it even to make it watch nice. It's not about to go
Yeah.
fast, you know,
Yes.
to or rush from corner to corner.
Yeah.
It's not that thing we want to see. We want to make it fluently, and we want to at least it have to be fun for both of the drivers.
Yeah.
You know, if they enjoyed their ride, their round that they make, if they really have fun with it, then is that what we wanna achieve
Yeah.
in our competition. And I think that's the main reason of RC drifting.
Go on.
That that's something we always wrestle with when we're you know, doing a track layout or anything. You know, you have to account, like, we could throw in some really tricky sections and have a huge skill separator, but then you're just gonna, what's the actual product that you're putting out if people are watching? You know, it's just a bunch of people getting zeros. That's not really entertainment. So you know, you have to try to think about and make it so that, you know, the highly skilled drivers can still shine, but everyone should be able to, you know, get through the track so that you actually have battles that you're judging and not just mistakes.
Yeah, correct. This is really the biggest point for us to make the track, the layout. So, like you said, we want everybody to reach the target, you know, the finish line. But also you want a high skill entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's not easy, but
Yeah.
I think we actually made it pretty good till now. So, and hopefully just the guys have fun on the track, you know.
Yeah.
Ryan, is it time that we take a walk around your track since you're there?
Yeah, you want to? That's fine.
What track is this?
So this is Drift Nutters in Holstead, Essex.
That is a great track name.
Yeah.
Nutters.
All right. Right, we'll just give you a tour. So we'll go from the outside. Yeah. So here we are. So that's where you come in. It's just a little area. So some people, when they bring their kids, they sit here and they play the PlayStation.
Nice.
And whatnot. This is our pit area, so we can fit over 30 people in here, as you can see.
Nice.
Ignore these. These are the track owners' big on-road cars.
Those are sick.
Little sink, tea, coffee, toilets, ladies and gents.
Of course, there's
we come around
here. Set up.
Come around here. They've got this is a 124 arc edge track. And this is probably about 4 meters by 8, 10 for 124 scale.
It's funny, like, yes, they're super tiny, and you still need a lot of space for those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've also
That's cool.
got
Nice.
a little crawler setup as well.
Nice.
So this is the downstairs area.
Okay.
So then we come through here. We got a TV that shows the track. And then on the weekends, the track owner's missus, she will come in here. We've got a kitchen area where they'll serve hot food, your drinks, your snacks, and everything that you need.
Nice.
What?
Yeah.
This place is sick.
So, you know, on big events, we can do catering, and they cater for the drivers on the weekends. So you can buy something to eat. This was our judging platform.
Nice.
There you go.
Up there.
That's sick.
Wait, everyone has to climb the ladder?
Yeah, for now. This is where Team Sl1d currently reside at the moment. So that's where I've been sitting.
Nice.
And we've got a few guys sitting in here. Mr. Sl1d Customs.
What up, Keith?
Hey,
There you
Oh,
go,
yeah.
everyone. There's Keith. How you doing? Yeah, you can see there's a fair few cars. We also stock some parts that people can come and buy.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like kind of withdrawing, showing you the new layout at the moment. But
Oh.
yeah, we've got some nice painted artwork, and we've just finished putting in a new layout today.
Nice. Looks good.
Let me see if I can go up here.
Tile?
See, with these, you like all the judges could just be in the same area without any issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get a bird's eye view as well. But yeah, so currently we're running 14 by I think 10 meters, but that wall in the future is getting knocked down, and then we've got probably another 20 meters on the other side
Oh
of that wall.
wow.
Oh, geez.
And then so there will be a main track and then like a sub-course track, like
Yeah.
that's a bit more beginner friendly.
Yeah.
For all you US viewers, make sure that you note that he said meters, not feet.
Yeah, so what's the conversion? Times 1.67, is it? Yeah.
3.
Three and a half. So yeah, there's going to be about what 30 meters worth of, so 90 feet.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, but there'll be 2 tracks. So this is currently our layout for 14 by 10. So we just made it a little bit more intermediate friendly
Yeah.
compared to the last layout, because the last layout was very like high speed technical
Yeah.
and very like big commitment heavy, whereas this is a little bit more fluid.
Yeah. It's kind of like we talked about. It's a hybrid. You have your big commitment,
Yeah.
big chuck zones, and then you have a more flowy section.
Want to do a lap? No. You want to jog a lap?
Too
What
much
kinda-
pressure.
What kind of tile are you on?
We are on P-Tile. So it's been imported from Japan.
Sick.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then what tires you guys run?
Rev D ASO ones or top lines.
Interesting.
Rev D is the preferred tire, but not everyone wants to always have to pay for new tires. So if someone's got a set of top lines, they're more than welcome to come and run them.
Is that do you guys kind of synergize across the UK as far as what tires all the tracks use, or are they all different?
No. So because in the UK there's multiple surfaces, so
Yeah.
you've got a few P-tile tracks. I'd say ours is probably the most gripped up. There's other ones that would probably like polish or maybe wax or treat theirs potentially. I don't know, but they're nowhere near as grippy and a lot more high gloss of a look.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they might treat them just to make them a bit more slippery. But then we've got concrete tracks. And then there's also a couple run carpet still. And then you've also got the plastic sheeting,
Yeah.
that are like 2 by 1 meter squares. I don't know if Josh talked about it
Yeah.
you had him on. And then that stuff is quite slick compared to the P-tile here as well. So
Yeah.
and then different tracks use different tires. So what's quite common now is us and MDS, which is Seb's home track now, and that's polished concrete, I think, or painted concrete. They will now run the ASO ones as well.
Yeah, I think it's good at least if it's the same surface
Yeah,
that everybody
and
just
then-
runs the same tire.
yeah, and then some other tracks run top. One of the P-tile tracks runs top lines, and then a couple of the others run LF4s or LF4P from DS. So yeah, there's quite a diversity of tire choice. Yeah, I think there is.
How far is your drive to that track?
45 minutes or so.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's not bad at all.
I used to go scale drift, but obviously that was when they were in Reading. But unfortunately, they've shut down now since.
Mm. But it looks like you guys got that's a pretty big track, I would say.
Hold on. I think we need to clear this up. DJ. there we go.
Oh, he's working on stuff. He's
Come
got
on, Cody.
shocks.
Waiting for the bubbles.
Tinkering away.
It's probably time, actually.
He's rebuilding shocks, is he?
Yeah, I was gonna do it last night at the track, but I can't do it at the track. I don't want to get yelled at.
No,
You don't
That's
want to be
embarrassing.
a oil boy? You don't want to be a grease
that's
boy?
embarrassing.
I looked over and I saw that we have a tally count of our oil boys, which is a group of guys at our area. We keep tally of how many times they rebuild their shocks, so I didn't want to add one to their board.
No, yeah.
Hey, now I reside
Wasn't
in
you
that
that was the
room.
guilty one leaking shock oil at SDC last year? Then was it?
Nope, not me.
I remember that one.
Oh, that was so often. That was kind of getting frustrating. Like
Yeah.
it was like every couple hours. It felt like.
Yeah, it must have been a certain specific group going on, and someone had a leaky shock.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not know though?
was.
Like, I feel like it's obvious to tell if your shocks are leaking.
I
think it
don't really
could be.
understand how a shock leaks in
It
the
could
first
also be a
place.
guess, though, couldn't it?
But yeah.
Which is funny because you have Yokomo big boards.
Yeah. I mean, I get a small amount of seepage, but like actually dripping.
Yeah, like onto a
What do
track
we
like
do?
that.
How?
Hmm.
I mean, I've seen shocks completely disassemble on a car, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Let's see. There's a lot of interesting topics that Ryan had brought up when we were chatting in Instagram.
Yeah.
I think we've actually covered a lot of it. Timo, can you go over the I'm curious just about the check-in process. Like when you show up for Clash, like what is that registration process like? Like you show up, how is your tech? Are there any special rules that you guys are following for chassis setup?
Just for the regulations over the chassis.
Yeah.
Okay. We have none. We just say that you have to go. The motors is from 30.5 to 10.5.
Okay.
And of course, the tires are handed out by us. So we're just running one tire. This is the limitation, the regulation. And we have an overall weight, or minimum weight at least, that you have to reach. And yeah, no maximum weight because it's not necessary. Nobody will come along with a 3 kilo chassis. So yeah.
Unless they've got a full option gun.
Maybe. Yeah, so for that, yeah. And what we also just keep off was the bias, the weight bias, front or rear. So it's not necessary anymore. So it makes not a big difference anymore. So that's it, yeah. So you can go for your chassis however you want. You can bring prototypes as long as they're safe, of course. You know, the battery thing is a big problem. But yeah, if electronics is secure and admitted, so that should be no problem. Yeah.
Is there? I mean, I assume you have a requirement for 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Only 2-wheel drive. Yeah. Only RWD. RWD. Of
That
course.
reminds me, actually. Timo, Rock's wooden RDX.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't want me to say anything about.
Oh, I already know what Hayato had to say about that. Yeah.
Was he like too much flex? Or just
Hayato looked at it and was just disgraced.
oh no.
Someone took apart his beautiful engineering and stuck a lollipop stick chassis on it.
You know, as long as it works for him.
I mean, that sounds.
I mean, I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a funny troll. Like, look at you guys with your carbon fiber. I'm out here on popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
But
Yeah.
like
There
fancy.
was someone with a completely 3D printed chassis in Verona as well. I noticed. So, and I know SDC have had the rule about no 3D printed parts, and there was a bit of backlash, and they relaxed that, didn't they, for this
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
So I guess how does that? Are you gonna think about that, Timo? Like, is prototyping, is experimentation always going to be welcome at Clash?
You know, I think it's a really dangerous topic.
Yeah, you can say I don't know if you don't want to discuss it.
For the one thing, I like progressing. I like experimental things, you know. But you have to keep an eye of keep it fair. So it's really, yeah. Oh, it's too difficult to describe, you know. Actually, we have no rules for that. I know we had some rules back in the days on the World Championship that we said we don't want any prototypes, things, because they're not proven, they're not regular produced. So maybe you have an advantage of that, and we don't want that at that point. Yeah, actually, I have an eye on everything going around, and if we spotted a really huge advantage of some kind of prototyping, then I will go through it, you know, and then we need to find a solution. It's then not a disqualification in any case. I think that's stupid at that moment because you can rebuild it or something. We don't be so harsh on that. But just, in my mind, I think progressing is really important for the manufacturer, for the drivers. And so for that, it's allowed as long as you can see no huge advantage for that.
But that's kind of what makes it so challenging is you can't really, there's not like it'd be really hard to define a hard set rule on what is and isn't allowed because you do want to see that progress. And then, if I guess it's kind of like your worst nightmares, if you do have to step in, then you're just like, because it's not going to be, I think no matter what situation that is, it's going to be really hard for you to navigate and keep everybody happy. So,
of course. If you make rules, it's just like you say, if you make rules, then you have to make it from the bottom, you know, and make it a strict regulation to every compartment of the chassis, of the body, and of everything the driver used. So you really have to say, no, use that part, you can use that part, and no, I don't think that's the right way. So no, we stay on, keep prototyping, pushing forward. I like that idea, you know. So for that, and everybody has to be able to come to the competition. If you just regulate anything, then at least we ended up in a manufacturer cup, you know, and not in an open tournament.
I like the idea of being more open on stuff because it can become more about the machines too, you know, not just the drivers.
I mean, there's a time and place for it, right?
Yeah.
And like you can have the RDX masters like specific to RDX and the classes.
I love that. It's just giving the drivers the choice, right?
So Ryan, you had the topic of what we think the next development is, or from who. Want to expound on that?
Is in like manufacturing wise for chassis as such. It's like, where does the development go? You know, you've got Yokomo kind of, they pushed the MD3, it didn't work for them, so then they have reanodized the SD3 because it's been probably a better car feedback wise, I'd assume. And then where they're not really like personal to the scene anymore, if that makes sense. In my opinion, they're a lot more of a corporate business that's gone through two different investors now. So they're kind of stuck in limbo where they don't really like have a path to get back into the market.
Mhm.
And I think that's what the new pink and brown chassis are for, you know, bring something new to make people buy. And I noticed they,
for the that's just for selling numbers, you know. That's not really a new idea they're bringing or something. There's no engineering at all. It's just
no. But I think it's them trying to grab some market back, because obviously Shibata had their grab of the market, and then Rev D now have got like a really strong grab on it, where most of the Rev D stuff that you'd want to build a chassis now, they're out of stock everywhere.
Yep.
Or it's very hard to get hold of them. You know, there's like a scarcity of RDX parts or Rev D parts at the moment, where they're in such demand. And I think Yokomo are trying to grab hold of some of the sales, and then I think maybe Overdose are also kind of seeing what's happening, and then that's why they're trying to get to more events and do a bit more interactive with people, and especially like Europe, you know, try and get into the Europe and be a more of a face in the market.
100%. Like, if I think about the last few years, and sure, like international collaboration has grown substantially, right? Like, I always felt like Yokomo felt closed off, right? But now we have Logan here. We have Yokomo Logan. I mean, like, I feel like they're starting to open up, so I'm kind of curious of where that might go. And I know that we have Vitaly, who's also driving for Yokomo up at PDX as well. So who knows? Like, that public venue might be a lot more open soon enough.
Are they Yokomo like factory from Japan drivers, or are they through like distribution of Yokomo in the US?
Both of our agreements are 3-party deals, so it's with our track and also with Yokomo.
So directly Yokomo Japan.
Yeah.
Or okay, that's good.
Yeah. Like my contract at least is. They had to sign it too, basically. Yeah.
Okay, that's good, because I know there's some brands that I don't know if there is or whatnot, but you can get like deals
Just
where you're like through the distributors, rather than through factory as well.
Yeah.
I know that sort of thing exists, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's like the separation between like just the, like, I guess the major realm of Yokomo drivers and then like the works teams drivers.
Yeah. I was just reading the YouTube comments. Ryan, Timo, what's the biggest innovation in RC drifting you guys have seen in the last 6 months?
No,
Innovate?
it's not that one. That was this one. Yeah, sorry.
I'm trying to think. Innovation-wise, what have I seen? Well, because I'm quite new into it. Oh, the burn tune as well. We'll get into that one because that's quite a hot debate in the UK, and I think I'm partially part of the reason for that one.
Been hot here too.
Going to Japan and bringing it back and doing it, you know, it's definitely one of those hot topics. I think fundamentally a lot of people are misconstrued on the idea of or the concept of what a burn tune is, and they think it's just having all the throttle and all the turbo and just burning the tires off all the way around the track, and that's not technically the fundament of what burning is. Burn tune is a case of building tire heat to get your car ready for the next corner so you have more available grip, you know. But if you've got a long sweeping corner, you can hold the throttle and burn away and do it smoothly and make it look good to the next corner as well, then fair enough. I think a lot of people are against it, especially the UK don't like it. I think it's because people don't know how to do it and they can't do it, or they think it marks the tracks and damages the tracks. But P-tile is an industrial grade level of flooring. Yeah. You know, I mean, I suppose some people like the aesthetic of keeping their track fresh. Others don't mind. You know, in the UK, you got some people that are feeling a way that some people are really fast, and they feel like, oh, you're too fast, it ruins it. You know, so you're never going to please everyone. However, it is a driving style I think that is here, and people need to be able to adapt to drive it. Because at the end of the day, it's not like you can run it everywhere on every surface. So being someone that can only run a burn tune is not going to be beneficial anyway. Because if you're on a painted, polished concrete track, doing that's going to make your car go nowhere.
Yeah.
But if you're on a P-tile track that's high grip, you need to be able to understand and use it and tune your car to that to be able
to. It has to be a relatively large track for it to be really effective too.
Not necessarily. It's just the layout and the style of the track has to complement it.
If you need certain shapes to do it right. Yeah,
of course.
Oh no, DJ!
I can tell you guys, having been, at Super G, at Tandem, and at our track's the smallest of those three. I don't see any damage to any of the tile. We're all three of those tracks are J tile, Japanese P tile, and there's no permanent damage.
Look at it this way: what melts down? The tire, right? The tire melts and deforms, not the surface. So if anything, that shows where the wear is. It's just you're delaminating and leaving the tire on the surface, and that's what people are seeing and thinking is damage. But really, all you're doing is leaving the tire material on the surface. That's about what I could say on that, really.
Can we get the Clash opinion on that? Did you see it at Clash for burn tunes? Oh no, because it was polished concrete, yeah. So probably not so much.
At least concrete, yeah. So
I think there was a fundamental bit of burn at Clash because whilst it was a concrete surface, it was quite abrasive, and the Rev D tire can build heat, and the surface allowed for heat in the tire because of the amount of wear there was. So doing it in the right place would allow for a little bit of heat to get a little bit more side bite in the car, I found. So it definitely had its place, but it wasn't a case of holding it and dragging it through the whole corner. It wasn't like that. It was more get the tire heated, ready to get a little bit better side bite to get through the next corner.
Yeah.
So you need the right temperature in the tire to get a perfect balance.
If you can put some temperature into the tire, you can gain a tiny little bit more grip. It's like if you was to you go to the track and it's say 20 degrees Celsius during the day, but then when the evening drops off, it's like 10 degrees at night. Your car will just completely change how it feels. It's the same when you SDC, the track and the conditions of the tire and the grip level I found through the 2-3 days of practice, it was so different through the day. And then I noticed that in qualifying they were also running fans to blow cold air over the top of the track. I think, or whether it was to be put on the track or in the pits, but I noticed it was blowing onto the track as well. So
I think that was mostly just to keep people cool, like physically, body temperature. But it's cooling the track naturally too.
Yeah, but I did notice they would get turned towards the track. So I don't know if that's someone sneakily pointing them at the track or who knows. But so obviously that plays a part in it as well. So that was the hardest thing I think with SDC is trying to tune your car and get the right feeling for it because obviously the way the qualifying works there, you don't know what group you're going to be until it's actually randomly selected. So your car can handle one way at 2 p.m, but then at 8 p.m it handled completely differently.
And the way they had done it in previous years, when they split the two runs, your second run could be 4 or 5 hours after your first run.
After watching Clash, do you feel the UK has closed in on the skill gap in a whole versus the Japan drivers? I think the skill the Japanese guys have is very different and very advanced, and they have the ability to adapt to every other country's judging style, whereas every other country has a harder time adjusting to other countries' judging style. But I think that's just because of the way they train and the way they drive so aggressively. But everything else is a lot more mellow for them, so it's a lot easier.
I feel like, as far as the gap goes, we're not in terms of like how long they've been doing it for, but like also that like
Mhm.
a generational thing of family, right? Because it's like their grandpas
Yeah.
and the dads and then the sons are like all in that aspect.
Yeah. I think
Well,
there is skill gaps across the board everywhere.
Hmm.
In the sense, like I found the US style was a bit different and maybe a little bit behind to what I'm seeing in Europe and Asia. And so that meant the car had to be a little bit more stable, less flicky, and having to learn a new judging style. The same with going to Japan. There was all big flick, high rotation, and a lot of straight. And I think the UK is probably a little bit behind, but that's because there isn't a big international draw into the UK or a draw to go out of it either. So I think the UK, the comp scene is very
yeah.
up and down, and it's like there's different groups doing different things here and there. So there's not like one big central thing.
With anything, if you stay in your little echo chamber area, that is a hard limit on how good you can get, right?
Of course, but a lot of people as well, you might see it in America as well, a lot of people just want to turn up to get out of the house and just relax for their
Yeah,
week.
that too.
So they don't want to have the speed. But then the problem is they can be a slower driver, but then if you're a faster driver coming through, then they feel away because they can't keep up and that they're slow and they don't want to come to the track. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like some people also have the idea, oh, I don't want to have to tune my car just to be able to drive with people. It's like then it's a case of people if they have to learn to drive the people that are in that probably, how can I categorize it? Like if you're not trying to be competitive or drive fast, then don't try to drive and chase those people that are, and then feel away when you can't maintain that.
Yeah, I think you do have to recognize, be realistic with yourself. There are going to be sweaty nerds at your track that are trying really hard, and it just kind of is what it is.
But I feel like it's the natural evolution of the hobby too, because like we're already not doing the easiest thing that's out there, right? Like there's skill that's involved, there's time and effort that's expended to be able to get to where you're at, wherever you're at, right? But like Logan and I say it consistently, like driving in a Seto or just drifting by yourself is boring.
Yeah. No, of course. But then I think there is an element of knowing what car is for you to chase and drive with and what ones aren't.
Yeah.
But then if you want to get faster, then approach those drivers and ask for some help, Like there's me here, Keith and whatnot. We will take our time and sit with people and help tune their cars with them. But as long as they're proactive to learn and want to do so, not just go, oh, here's my car. Can you make it fast? Thanks.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's a bad way to get help.
Yeah, like if you've got an interest to do it, because what I notice as well is you'll help people and then you use your parts, your shims, your turnbuckles and your ball ends and whatnot, and then when you come to needing something, you're like, I haven't even got it anymore.
Yeah.
So
and then you go back to that person and the next week and the car is all different again.
Yeah, it's like, oh, someone else tuned it for you again as well then. I mean, that's fair enough because my style of driving and setting up a car might not work for them, but it might work with someone else's. Yeah, that's fair enough.
It just makes it makes me a little more cautious with my time when I see that stuff happen.
I've definitely learned and picked up on that sort of thing my end as well. Like where I've put time, I've spent hours doing some cars, and then it's then been stripped back or then not appreciated or something. It is what it is. I still do it to help people out because at the end of the day, if someone wants to help, but now I'll approach it differently. Like I'll make sure they've got the parts to be able to do the changes. If not, I can't do them. But also if I'm going to do it, I want them proactively with me watching and asking, not just expect you to just do something to it for them.
I do this thing if someone wants me to help them with their car and I have their car on my desk and they walk away, I just put their car to the side and
You just stop working on it.
Yeah.
Because in the day you pay to get there to drive as well, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I like Cody. Just to go back to burn tune a little bit, I like Cody's point there, and that's something that people need to realize. Usually, if you are using the burn tune technique, you know, you're gonna hold the throttle for a certain period of time. That will give you a little bit of heat, and basically that is only going to persist for like the next exit, the next corner exit, and then you're back to normal temp. So,
however, I can counteract that, because if you do one lap, sit for 2 minutes, and then do another lap, compared to 20-minute hot lapping, there is a massive difference to how your car feels and how it handles.
Yeah.
You know? And I think a lot of people miss that side of things when they do comps. They don't learn to practice doing one lap and waiting. You know, they'll do a battery a whole go. And they think they're the fastest, and then you actually haven't got the pace because you haven't got that 20-minute tire heat build up, and you go to do quality your battles.
There's a baseline temperature that you get to after running a bunch of laps, but when you're doing the burn of flooring it and you're actually melting plastic, there's an additional extra boost that you're going to get in grip, and that's not going to last until you pretty much do that again, right?
No, you'll probably get to the next corner, and then by that time you've done that corner, they've come back down again.
Yeah. I do like it. It adds, you know, when you get deep into this, you know, you're starting to plateau a little bit maybe in your skill level. It adds something new to learn and to you know, try to perfect.
Yeah, there's always something to learn. I always say to newer people, if they want to try something, try one extreme and then go to the other. Yeah. So try going like 5 degrees, 6 degrees camber to like 12.
Yeah.
You know, learn and work out what the change does to the car and learn that feeling. And then once you learn those things, you can start to create a knowledge base for yourself to kind of work out, oh, maybe I need to try this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think to bring new people to the track is to go through them and help them with setting their material properly. You know, so you build up the fun, and when they keep the fun in driving, then the progress comes by itself.
Yes.
You know? So, but what we also see in the last years is way too much people are afraid to ask.
Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah.
From my home track, I don't know this issue because everybody is invited, everybody is welcome, and we as experienced drivers, we go to the people and say, hey, would you like to have an advice from me?
Yeah.
If you're good with that, if you're feeling comfortable with that, and if they agree, then we help them over the day.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see at the end of the day, you can see progress, and you can see and they enjoyed the day, you know, and that's the best part of it. So, and this is maybe the future then. Yeah, these people will stay in the hobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we always talk about that. So with the hobby, there's a certain attrition rate where, you know, people just fall out of the hobby. So growth is always a huge important aspect for any track, like attracting new drivers, and the biggest challenge is keeping those new people interested in the hobby. So that's why it's so important for there to be people that can help, because it's a pretty steep learning curve, especially if you're just completely raw into RC. It's a big challenge to get into drift, drift discipline, and stay with it, because it's not the easiest.
Of course.
I kind of want to increase the toxicity levels of this, but what's the what do you guys think is like the easiest RC discipline?
No.
Like boats or something, I guess.
Well, I mean, what are you classifying as RC?
Yeah, I mean anything.
Like actual radio control?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say for me the easiest has been the drift.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
That is
Because
crazy.
I've done touring car, outdoor and carpet, and Nitro 1.8 on road. You know, they're 2.5 kilo cars that do
Yeah.
75 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But you got to tune an engine and a clutch, and you've got to do a lot of setup with tires, tire prep, fuel. Touring car is very competitive as well.
Yeah.
You know, so your scope of being a good driver to being the best, like it's like so small of a window
Yeah.
that it takes so much, and the precision of the steering because of how fast the cars are, you know, just speed of them is different. I think the drift stuff, it's getting yourself intuitively to not overdo inputs.
Yeah.
So like for me, when I first started doing the drifting, it was just getting comfortable with letting the gyro do the work and not
Yeah.
fight it.
Yeah.
And then throttle input. The one thing I
Right.
see a lot for new people is they're very on off jabby with
Yeah.
their throttle.
Yeah.
So their car's just really unsettled.
Coming from on-road is probably one of the better stepping stones into drift.
Potentially, because
I
you
mean, I think-
understand geometry and
Yeah. Well, you just driving an RC car, you know, it probably feels
Yeah.
like you go into drift and it's like so much slower. You have so much more time
Yeah.
to think.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
But I think it's nowadays it's
I'm
pretty
just going to be
much
back in a minute.
easier. It's so much easier to go drifting because when you are in an area on a track, then like Ryan said, it's the gyro who does the most of the work,
yeah.
and other people come close to you to keep up with you. If
Yeah.
you go on a touring car track,
They're trying to pass you.
you're going fast, you know, and
Yeah.
you have to keep up. And
Yeah.
so the challenging is way more higher than on a drift track. So I think this is way more enjoyable. And so yeah, actually nowadays in real driving, I say it's easier to drift than to make touring cars. If you go back to counter steering or even 50-50, you know, the old days, it was just horrible to drifting because it's all
Yeah.
about setup, especially counter steering times.
Yeah.
So you really get frustrated really quick. So I would say, yeah, back in the days, drifting was not for everybody. So then you are better keep up in the lower class touring car. But nowadays, I think real driving is fun, and it's not easier, but it's, you know, you getting feeling comfortable with it way faster than touring car.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a difference between, you know, just being able to link a track to competing at a high level.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
that there's a very big window in drift of what counts as success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, the first level of that, if you can link a track, I mean, that's a successful, you know, a trip to the track versus racing. Simply getting around the track is not a good accomplishment, right? So
I will say,
But even
like,
then in racing, it can be difficult getting around a
Yeah.
track without
Yeah.
knocking the walls or rolling over
Yeah.
the curbs.
if someone were to hand me a CS car or a 50/50 car today, yes, they still do exist. I wouldn't be able to drive it. Like
it'd be really hard, right?
because
I
there's
think I
no
might manage.
there's no gyro, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. we don't want gyros back in the day, you know.
Right.
Devil tools. So no, but yeah, I still need some batteries to switch from RVD to CS or something. But I have so many old stuff, so I like it sometimes to move that. Yeah, but it's the hell. Yeah, completely. It's so different to like we said. It's the gyro does the work, and real wheel driving is so much easier than. Yeah, it is.
Until we all go Steve's route and have no gyro.
Well, I mean, the question earlier was like, what's the next innovation, right? Like, I do think that we're getting to that point. It's just getting to that point. Like, we're going to see a completely different generation of like chassis altogether to make it work.
But then what does that look like, in your opinion? What does that look like to you then? If you think that's the next step, how do you see that being done?
Well, yeah, right. Like, because I think just the like management of power and wheel speed is like, we're driving 4,000 horsepower cars like equivocally, right? So slowing that down, grippier tires potentially. It might be an outside thing. Who knows? Could be fifth scale.
There's always a push of like, what's the next innovation as far as making the chassis perform better? But there's also like a pursuit, I think, this whole time, coming from, all-wheel drive to counter steer to two-wheel drive with the gyro. There's a pursuit to like better simulate the real world, right?
Of course, but you're going to have a limitation of, we don't have clutch control. Yeah. So you can't do left foot braking whilst accelerating to push a car back. I think the sport in itself is getting to that point, like you guys mentioned last time. Yeah, it's a case of everything's refinement, or just designing something to do it in a different way. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it, you've got front mount motor chassis, you've got weight transfer chassis, you've got chassis like the LP and the Bowler Fantasy and the D-like RER. Like, there's so many different variants out there. There's like, what more can you innovate that does it differently, and then does that make it better?
My thought was, and I know there's people already trying this, but direct drive, like force feedback steering, would be kind of one step you could take to make it more like a real car. So then, you're having that self counter steer, and you're letting go of the wheel and catching it.
But then I'm not sure how your car would translate that back to your radio, though, because the radio would then need its own drive motor. I think there's people that have already been connecting their sim racing setups to their cars. So if you're going to do it that way, I think that's your only step. But then I don't think they have that programmed of force feedback.
That's literally just steering input. So it would be a two-way change, but it's 2026. We have technology.
I think if we were to see a progression in this sport, I think it would be more a case of actual physical data collection, using like having a gyro to measure angle, and then like accelerometers to know the speed, and to help judging, really. Just are they at this angle? Were they braking? I think if anything, the competitive side will push to be more like computer aided, like the real drifting is. I think if anywhere it's going to progress, it's going to be going down a technological route to help judging for bigger competitions. But then that's a kind of worms.
I mean, that is one of the biggest challenges for people doing comps, is not everybody handles loss, especially when they think they won very well. So that definitely would be an improvement to at least, hey man, it's on the numbers.
But in terms of like development, I think the sport's kind of getting to where it's at its pinnacle, and people are already throwing things out there to try to be different. Take Beast Mode, for instance, with their chassis conversion kits, where they've took the RDX and turned the gearbox backwards to make it a rear low mount. But then that kind of already exists with Overdose. They've got their rear low mount motor position. So, I'm not sure how many more ways you can do something differently, especially where you can also get the old counter steer cars where they can be converted to rear wheel drive.
Like, that was the easiest thing. Like, it was like,
but this is what I'm saying. The innovations, like, I think the big innovations already happened. And that's why everyone's trying to find their own style of doing because look at the way you could build a car and you can have 20 different scenarios of how it's put together. But tuned right, they're all within the same window of each other.
Yeah.
In the right hands.
Yeah, there's definitely not. We're definitely not gonna come. I don't think to a point of consensus on like what is the best layout of a chassis.
No,
Because right
and
now
it's
we can do
also-
almost all of it.
Well, no,
and it's also
I do
philosophy.
think that we do have a consensus of, as of now, what is the best chassis layout, right? That's why the majority of them are like that. So
So rear mount motor.
yeah, front rear
low
mount motor.
height.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, all chassis are kind of based on the same balance. The 70 around 68-32. The battery sits in front of the gearbox. The motor sits above it in a low or high position. The servo's up front or mid deck. Yeah, I think there's different philosophies with tuning. So take the GRK with its active toe and using soft suspension to make the car work. An RDX requires a stiffer type of suspension setup to get the best out of it. So I think each car's got its own philosophy of what it needs to get it to work.
I mean, I've
But
seen
then-
all of that stuff change though in the last 2 years. So I don't know.
Exactly,
I
but-
hesitate to say that we're all stuck on one setup right now because we are, but it doesn't mean in a year that's not gonna be different.
Yeah. Next step's going to have suspension mounting positioning to be Sim 1-to-1 multi-link rear, McPherson front. But there is chassis that exist that are like this already.
Yeah.
The D-like RER had a multi-link rear. The McPherson strut was on the new Addiction car and the Rhino Max, is it? They
Rhino
have
Max has
that
McPherson.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So there's chassis out there that already accommodate this. I think whether those act, but there's that stuff already exists, but does it mean that's the next development of what's going to be the best thing in the hobby? I'm not so sure multi-link is, because you're bringing in too much complication to something that doesn't need to be that complicated.
Yeah.
I
we
also
have
think
so-
that coming to one closeness, like in similarities, isn't necessarily what is being strived for to begin with. Like, because we're already
Well,
to
yeah.
the point where like we're pushing boundaries with the current setups that are probably not realistic to real world anyway.
The advantages
exactly.
of a multi-link rear in real life apply because of the grip level that you have. Like we already have
Yeah.
no grip, so it's like
And
we're not getting that kind of actuation out of the suspension
Yeah.
anyway.
I think
and I
it's
could also
a big
go on,
difference.
Timo.
Sorry. I think it's a big difference to make your driving realistic, like the one-on-one, or do you want to like have your chassis look like a one-on-one?
Yeah.
I think it's completely two different kind of things.
Yeah.
So like overdose, I really like the overdose engineering behind everything, but they won't change the layout completely. They make changes and adjustments, and of course they're bringing a complete new front end and knuckles and stuff. Okay, but they aim for the way makes the driving looks realistic for for spectators as example, but they don't change the chassis. They won't make the chassis look like a one-on-one car.
Yeah.
So for me, these are two completely different points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I would play devil's advocate and say you can't expect the hobby to become one-to-one because they don't have the characteristics of it. And even if you try to make it, it doesn't work because you can't do what you can do in a one-to-one car, know. And also, in terms of competing, you can't take a one-to-one judge or driver, bring them into our hobby, not doing it, and think that they're going to be able to judge it because they don't know how the cars drive, they don't know how they handle, they don't know anything about that. So, if you can't say the evolutions to go one-to-one, if you can't bring someone that does one-to-one and have them be able to judge it as an outsider, they can't. At some point you have to draw the line and go, look, this is as close as we can get it. But we have to differentiate where the differences are and accept them.
Thanks, Hector.
Yeah, just get a real car.
Yeah, to get a real car.
Perfect.
Yeah, but we do this because sometimes doing it for real is just too expensive, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
This is already too expensive. So
Yes and no. I mean, your upfront cost, yes, but your running cost compared to other classes is so low. You don't break
Yeah.
parts like touring
No,
car and buggy. You break parts, you
yeah.
need tires all the time,
Yep.
engines.
It was more.
You know?
It was more. I was more criticizing my own financial situation than RC sport.
I will say I've probably not seen as many like sheared motor shafts than in drifting. Like it kind of impresses me in that sense. And sure
Yeah, we're
enough,
pretty hard on
they're
those
like
things.
specific motors.
That's the only thing we are actually
Are
hard
you
on.
talking about Hobby Wing here?
Hobby Wing.
I've never seen anything but a Hobby Wing absolutely like snap at the shaft, other than maybe an AccuVance once or twice. But the bearings were absolutely knackered because the thing is with these motors is these companies sell us the motors, but will not sell bearings to service them.
Mm.
So you can buy the housing and you can buy the sensor board, you can buy the rotor and the shims, but you can't buy the bearings. Why do RevD, AccuVance, and Yokomo produce these motors but not provide the bearings? I think that's also one thing a lot of people underlook with their cars is servicing bearings. You know, they think, oh, the car just runs and runs and runs, and the bearings get left behind, and then they just disintegrate, and then everyone goes, oh, why is my transmission blown up? Why is my motor failed?
Yeah.
Bearings actually take the most abuse out of these cars than anything. They're the thing that needs to be serviced the most, you know?
Yeah, like as far as going full ceramic or anything like that, I don't see that like the full benefit of that.
I don't see a benefit for ceramic. It's a high cost.
Mhm.
You're not got any load on them, so they just get hot. And steel ball bearings are cheap enough. Even Hayato was like to me, don't waste your time with ceramic bearings. So
It's all marketing fluff. Like
I mean, they have their place, especially in nitro, because they handle better for the engines.
sure.
Because they don't expand with the heat as much, and they last longer. They're more durable. But in RC drift, you're not really got a load, and it's high RPM. You know, you're better off with steel ball bearings and just keeping them cleaned, like clean them out with brake cleaner and re-oiling them with a really nice like bearing oil, like hoodie.
Mhm.
You know, and being proactive with like maintaining your bearings every couple of weeks or every month, depending on how frequent you drive.
Gotcha. So one thing that I want to finish up here with, because we are coming close to that time, about international travels. So
Yeah.
because I'm dealing with well, I just got our visas back for going to China.
Yeah.
So I'll be heading out that way.
Amazing.
Is there a visa that's required to go to UK?
From the US, no. You don't. To go to the UK from the US, you don't need a visa.
Okay,
as
so
far
that
as I'm aware.
already makes it tremendously easier.
I think you'll have to have a look, but I know for me, I only had to do the ESTA for a 2-3 year clearance.
Mhm.
So that was fine for me. But yeah, China, I think I no longer need a visa for China either for tourism up to 3 months now for the UK. I think that changed recently.
Yeah, when I was doing my research, I was like, dang it, I'm in the wrong place.
Some perks of being in the UK, not many, but there's one. A stronger passport.
Mhm. But yeah, okay. So as far as that goes, it shouldn't be too difficult to get over there.
No.
Just
I think
time and
definitely not. Yeah, and I think we'll be expanding around May time here. So from like June onwards, we'll have those 2 tracks and have we'll be the biggest PTAL indoor track in the UK. I think the only thing bigger than us will be maybe Yashio, potentially.
I think if you guys could put together like a circuit for like, okay, US guys, like plan for a week. We'll take you to all these different tracks
Yeah.
for this week, and then that'd be sick.
Listen, at the end of the day, I know Kevin, and I got Junior coming over in April with Kevin, and Put from Thailand. He's coming as well with Kevin. So it's not something that's not possible. We've got a lot of the guys in Europe, Germany, Poland. They're all looking to start to plan to come over to our track and then explore the other tracks in the UK for a week, coming toward the end of this year. So I think us UK guys getting out to these European events and us coming on this podcast, me and Timo, it helps put Europe more into everyone's eyesight, because I feel like it's kind of been something that hasn't been. But now with Rev D doing these European events, and now Overdose are now jumping on them, I think it's now starting to wake people up and go, oh, okay, Europe is here. I think it's just also a lack of Europeans getting out to other places is also where the struggle is, because other than Dennis Bune, who has done a couple of RCDC Thailand and WTDC, there's not anyone else that's been getting around. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem in going intercontinental is just the distance, because it's for the UK, it's really expensive. It doesn't matter if it's Japan or if it is the US. But I think there are a lot of people, a lot of good drivers. They are really looking forward to going intercontinental, because of course we have you inside. We follow the things you do in the US. We follow the things that going on in Japan, and it's pretty much a big target for everybody in Europe to go someday over there.
Yeah.
But I think it's a financial thing, you know.
100%.
Sure.
Yeah, you got to make it a holiday that you then do a couple of days RC, not go RC as a holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, I was very fortunate to be able to experience Japan and America last year, so definitely something that's been very grateful for.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, it's definitely been a fun 2 hours.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Timo, for coming on.
That's all right. Thank you for having us. Hopefully, I'll see you guys at some point soon. I'm not sure about if I'm doing SDC yet because of work commitments now that have changed through taking on a company. So I've got to see if I can get there. But we'll see what I can do. And hopefully it won't be long till you guys are all taking a trip over here.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yeah.
You guys have any
No
call
worries.
outs? Ryan, we'll start with you.
Well, as call outs as in like just shout outs.
Shout
I'll
outs, yeah.
give a shout out to Kevin. Obviously RCO, they've been a massive support for me the last year and a bit, and the progression I've made and the experiences I've had is all thanks to them, and you can't be more grateful for that. Also, Drifthouse new home track, who else? Scale Drift, Josh, Nathan, they were my first club. They welcomed me in and everything like that. And also yourselves and just everyone really. And, it's nice to be able to present the UK and Europe to a wider audience.
For sure. What about you, Timo?
Yeah, what should I say? It's most of I agree totally with Ryan. It was a big opportunity to be here to talk outside Europe, and we have to thank, of course, all the drivers and all the passionate guys that joined Clash and that make Clash that what it is right now. So of course the UK guys, I was truly happy to have them last year, and
Yeah. I'm sure we'll come back bigger next year and take some more spots away from the tops.
yes,
Yeah.
let's see.
Try beat. I'll have to try get Hicker in a battle again and try beat him this time round.
I can arrange that. That's no problem. So
Yeah. I had him in top 8 in Italy.
yeah,
That was good fun.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, like like I say, just thank you all, and hopefully I see you guys some days in person.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's me in the US or other way around. And thank you so much.
Yeah. Hang out for just a little bit after we end. We do a little meeting right
Sure.
afterwards. Hector, I think, has it. He's always got the great ideas. Maybe the evolution
just
is
seen that.
people in the hobby. More new faces, more new laughs, and great times. More events, less events, event quality. Yeah. I like the people thing. We'll stick
Yeah,
with the people thing.
I think the people thing's a natural thing. It's just, but anything in life, you know, not everyone's always going to be a friend, and not everyone always clicks. But we all have a common interest, and that's the most important thing to focus on, I think.
For sure. All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. It
Take
was a
care.
great stream.
See ya.
Thank you.
We'll see you on Thursday.
All right.